Welcome to Sweetlands, the country of confectionery, ruled by the sickly King Sugar Syrup. In this complex strategy game, we'll try to prove ourselves a worthy heir to the throne by transforming our small tract of land into a magnificent sugary kingdom. Now, as you can see, I've got everything set up for a solo game. I picked a character out of like 14 different choices and decided on Alice T. Rose. She's clearly an amateur magician and baker, and her special ability is all about developing cities. As you can see right here, she starts with 2 money, 7 wheat, 8 wood, and 7 iron. We represent that here using these resource cubes. The whites are 1, the pink is 5, and over here the blue is 10. Over here we track income, and she starts with 15 money income and then 1 wood income. We've set up these bonus tiles just as you would in a 2-player game. And for solo, all you need to do is shuffle up this A and B deck and put it off to the side. Then get 1 token from an unused player color, and that's it. That is all you need to do for solo. Otherwise, we've just set up all the buildings and the bunnies and all the different pieces and skill tiles just as you would in any player game. This game has a ton of tokens and icons, but at its heart, structurally, it's actually very simple. So don't worry if you don't know the rules, because I'm going to teach everything as I play, just like I always do. A game of Sweetlands takes place over 5 rounds, and each round you're going to start with an income phase. In the solo game, you just flip over an A card and a B card. And then we're just going to place action markers in the spots that are shown. And then that's it. That is basically the solo player done. The solo mode for this game is about as hands-off as you can get. We're not playing against an automa player. We're simply going to be blocking some action spaces at the beginning of each round. So now we can gain our income, and actually as part of setup, I was supposed to place my marker below one of these columns. I think I'll just go right there. That little clock icon at the top of both of those tiles means that I get those during the income phase. And those symbols mean I'm going to get a wood and wheat income. So I can just move my wheat income up 1 and my wood income up 1. After we look at those tiles, we then go to our player and see if we have any sort of special income that we get. Certain characters do. Alice T. Rose doesn't, so we can skip that. We then look over here and we collect our income as shown on our tracks. So we're getting 15 money. We're getting that 1 wheat that we just increased. We're actually getting 2 wood. And no iron. I think I forgot to mention, but we also got 2 diamonds as part of setup. So we do have those. We now get to collect our cards. In the first round, you're going to draw 6 cards and add them to your hand. This deck of cards is made up of like 200 cards. So we have this enormous deck of cards. Put this one right here. There we go. And now we're ready for the action round. If we were playing a multiplayer game, then we would just, take turns taking actions until, everyone decides to pass. In the solo game, there's no solo bot that's taking actions or anything like that. We can just keep taking actions however we want until we decide to pass. We have 2 sort of main types of actions that we can take. We can spend money that you can see on the top of all these cards in order to play a card. That would then let us take the action that is on the card. We can also take one of these worker placement actions that are here on the board. In that case, we just take an action token and place it in one of these empty spaces. If it's the first space, then we have to pay by discarding one of our cards. If it's in the second space, we have to pay by spending 2 of our cards. And the third space, 3 cards. So as you can see, this action is completely blocked for us. But these two aren't. We could decide to still go and take that action. We would just have to spend 2 cards instead of 1. A few of these skill tiles have little flip actions that we can take. Don't worry about those. There's also a bunch of free actions that we can take whenever we want. Again, I'll explain all of that as we get to it as I'm playing. I'm going to start by playing a card. We're going to play Captain Crunch. At the top it shows it costs 10 money, but there would be a discount if I had any of that symbol out from cards that I had previously played. Obviously I don't have that, so it's going to cost a full 10. I then get to take this action here, which is simply to get 2 iron. And then get an iron and a money income. Getting these incomes early is going to be great because then we'll get them 4 more times at the beginning of each round. So now I have an option. I could just take this card and put it off to the side, and I would get that icon in play, which you can see will give me some discounts on a couple of cards that I have in my hand, or might interact with rewards that you get on different cards. But I also have the option of automating this card. And I think I'm going to do that. So in order to automate, you have to pay 1 diamond. And then you get to tuck it under the appropriate one of these 3 columns. And so this one gets tucked right here. You want to keep the icon showing. Now when I get something called an industry bonus, I will get to have this bonus here, which will be to increase my iron income. And then also get this one that's already pre-printed. I also get 3 money. This 1 here indicates that I can only at the moment have 1 card automated. But as I build these buildings, I'll be able to increase the number of cards that I can automate. There we go. That was my first action. And I can just keep going, taking actions until, I'm done. Or I run out of cards. And I can't play all 6 of my cards. I have to have at least 1 to take over to the next round. Only in the 5th and final round can you play all your cards. I think now I want to go onto the board here, and I'd like to take this action. So that means I'm going to have to discard one of my cards. I'm not too keen on this one, so I will discard that. I just dropped it off the table into a pit of wires, so that'll be a fun thing for me to go hunt after later. This action here is going to cost me 6 wheat. So almost all of my wheat, just 2 left. But I'm going to get to place 3 terrain tiles of my choice. So over here we have the 4 main types of terrain tiles. I'm going to start with this one, and we have to place it adjacent to these 2 starting spaces or a terrain tile that we've already placed. So this is the forest terrain tile, so I'm going to place it right there. And you place it face down. I think I'll do another one right here. Maybe we'll get a plains going right there. There's also these mountains and the water. So this is sort of step 1 in developing our kingdom. Step 2 is to build roads. And I think that's what I want to do, but I'm going to do it in a little bit of a funny way. I'm going to go right there. So again, that's going to cost me a card. Yeah, I'm going to discard this one. And that space is just going to give me one of these action markers that I can place in front of myself. I need to use this action marker before the end of the round, or else it'll just go away. One thing I can do with this is I can, as a free action, which is shown up there, I can discard this in order to get 2 basic resources of my choice. Basic resources are wheat, wood, or iron, not money or diamonds. I could also, if I wanted, discard a card in order to get 2 resources of my choice. And speaking of free actions up there, you can see I can exchange any 3 resources for a different resource. I can spend 4 money to get a resource. I can discard a resource in order to get 1 money. I can spend 15 money to draw another card. I can spend a card and any 3 resources in order to get a terrain tile or build a road. So I have all sorts of different sort of free actions that I could take if I wanted to. Instead, I'm going to use this token to take an action. Right there. And when I do that, I don't have to pay a card. I've essentially already paid the card for it, taking that action. So now I've saved myself a card, because otherwise going there would have cost me 2 cards. So here we go. This is going to cost me 6 wood. But I'm going to get to build 3 roads. Now, just like the terrain tiles, the roads have to start adjacent to one of these 2 spots. And they go between the hexes on the lines. So I'm going to put one right there. And when I do that, any tiles that are adjacent get flipped. So both of those are going to get flipped. And when a tile gets flipped, you get to activate the bonus that's on the front. So for this one, I have a choice. I can either get a wheat income, or I can move up on one of these 2 tracks over here. It has to be one of the orange tracks. Now, I haven't talked about these tracks yet, but these are how we're going to get the bulk of our in-game victory points. In order to win the game, we're trying to get 250 points. That's sort of considered a victory, and then over 300 points is considered like an extreme victory or something like that. But if you look at that top track there, you can see if we move forward, like let's say we did that, we can move forward there, and that's showing us that at the end of the game, we'll get a victory point for every 3 terrain tiles that we have on our map. If we're able to keep moving it forward, then that'll be a victory point for every 2. And then we can reach that last space, we'll get a victory point for every tile. And you can see there's 6 different categories that we can move down. So the next one down is giving us victory points for these bunnies that we can put out. I'll talk about the bunnies later. Next, we're getting victory points for roads. The next one is victory points for buildings. The next one is points for automated cards. And the last is victory points for basically points that we get from moving up this development track, I think it's called. I think it's a little early to start moving up these tracks, so instead, I'm going to take the income. That wheat income will be handy. That's going to be like worth 4 wheat to me over the course of the game. We want to get that income early. Now, we have the same thing here with this green tile. It's either a wood income or a movement on one of the 2 green tracks. We'll take the wood income. And now we can sort of extend the road from the road, or we could come through that way. I think I'll just keep building out the road like this, which will then let us flip this and get another wood income. So now we have 4 wood income. That's going to be really great because we're going to need wood in the future in order to build buildings. And speaking of building buildings, now that these tiles are flipped over, we can build buildings on top of them. When they were face down, we couldn't build buildings on those. But now that they're face up, we can. And also, you should note, you can build buildings on these 2 opening spots because they're sort of already flipped up. So perhaps we want to go ahead and do that. We have 4 wood and we have a lot of iron. So we could build 2 buildings. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go right there. Again, that's going to cost us a card. And this is going to let us build 2 buildings at whatever the cost. And we have 5 different types of buildings that we could build. We can build any of these 3 types that are here. We would start from the bottom and build up. We have this type of building here where we can pick whichever one we want, and we could build it. And then there's also this milk building here. We would start with this one and then go around. This is basically opening up this development track. Because right now this milk is blocking our progress on the development track. We would have to move it in order to keep progressing. But we haven't moved at all on the development track, so we won't worry about that. I'm going hard on getting our income up, so I think I'm going to build this building here. The cost is off to the side. So 2 wood and 3 iron. And even though this is on sort of a green spot, you can place these buildings on any tile. It doesn't have to match. So I could place it here, or I could place it here. I could even place it on the starting area if I want, and I think maybe I do. I think I'm going to place it right here. That's going to let me move up any of these tracks if I want, or get any income that I want. I want to get some iron income, so I'm going to put my iron up. So yeah, when you build a building onto the spot, you get to activate that again. So you activate it once when you flip it up, activate it again when you put a building on it. For my second building, I think I want to place one of these tents. So that's going to be 2 wood, the rest of my wood, and then 3 iron. So we'll put 2 back. And I'm going to place that here and get a wheat income. Now that we've done that, we get the bonuses that are shown below the buildings that we placed. So in addition to those bonuses, we're also going to get another wheat income and a coal income. And we get a terrain tile of our choice. You know what? We're going to put it right here. Another green one, and because there's a road there already, it's going to automatically flip. So it doesn't matter what order you put them in, you know, terrain tile road or road terrain tile. If there's a road adjacent, it'll flip over and you'll get the thing. We're going to get a wood income. Whoops, wood income. I only have 2 cards left, so that means I have 1 more action. I'm just going to come here, spend my 3 coal to get 2 movements on the development track. I think I'm going to get rid of this one. So I'll be holding this card over for the next round. Now, right now, I only have my stagecoach. So it's going to go 1, 2, and it's going to land there, and I'm going to get that special ability, which is to build a road and a terrain. I think I'm going to build a little road right there. I'm going to do a sea terrain, which will immediately flip. And we're going to get 2 income for our money. So that's going to get us up to 18 income. That's great. And there we go. If I had some free actions I wanted to take, I could. If I had one of these skill tiles and I wanted to flip it, but I can't spend any more cards, so I'm done. That's round 1. Actually, when you're done taking actions, you then take a pass action. And when you pass, you get to activate pass abilities. Pass abilities have this little icon there. You can see it here as well. And so I do have a pass ability. Alice Rose's pass ability here just says that for every city that we have, we'll get a point. So let me discuss cities. Cities are when you have an adjacent cluster of buildings that have 3 different buildings or more in them. So if we were to place, say, this building here, then this would be a city. Now, Alice has an ongoing special ability where she can ignore that different building rule. Any 3 buildings together make a city for her. So even if we had this, that would be considered a city. Additionally, we have a special building here, this sort of ice cream clock tower. When this gets built, for Alice, that will count as a city just on its own. So even if it was off here by itself, it would count as a city by itself. Now, you can't just build this. This is one of the special buildings that you can't just build with this build action. Instead, you have to meet whatever condition is shown. So for Alice, we need to have 5 of the forest terrain out, at least, right? We need at least 4 buildings. We need to have played at least 2 green cards or just 4 cards in general. So right now we've played 1, but this is not a green card. This is a gray card. And then we also must have a star. Now these stars are a little bit tricky to get. They're kind of spread out in different places. There's a star here on this track, on our food track, I think it's called. We haven't moved yet on the food track. There's also a star up here. Once we build this building right there, we'll get a star. So there's a couple different ways of getting stars. Oh, yep, there's one here on the development track way down there. So once we've accomplished all of those conditions, then we can put this out. Now, the tricky thing about cities is you have to make sure that they're not connected, because if, you might have 6 buildings, but if they're all connected, that's just one city. They have to be separate. So what I'm hoping to do is maybe build something here and then maybe start another city here and build it off there. So those two wouldn't be connected. But definitely my goal for round 2 is to hopefully get, at least get 1 more city, see if we might be able to get 2. That might be asking too much. Now, during this pass section, just for everybody, you're going to get city points based on the number of cities that you have when you pass. And you can see it up here. If you have 1 city, you'll get 1 city point. 2 cities will give you 2 city points. 3 for 3, 4 for 5, 5 for 7, and 6 for 9. And that's something else I haven't mentioned. There's actually 3 different types of points. And you can see here we have 3 different markers to track it on the board. You have victory points, which is how you're going to win the game. We need to get 250 victory points. But you also have city points and development points. You get development points by moving up this development track. As you can see here, once you move past this marker, you can start earning 1 development point, or industry point, I think it's called. Industry points. This is the industry track. So when you pass, you're going to get city points for your number of cities, and then you're going to get development points, depending on how far your development track is. Unfortunately for us, we're not getting any points whatsoever, because we haven't moved far enough. You also have to check these round tiles, these bonus tiles, because as you can see, those last 2 spots there, the top action, that has a pass ability. So the first one there is showing that you'll get 3 victory points for every city that you have. And then in that last space, you'll get 1 victory point for every terrain tile on your board of the type that you have the most of. So if our marker was over there right now, we have 3 forests, so we would get 3 points. We might also have one of these skill tiles, and you can see there's 3 of the skill tiles there that will also give you points for various things when you pass. And then there are certain citizen cards, these cards that you might have in play that would also give you points when you pass. We don't have any of that, so we're not scoring any points this round, unfortunately. Now you're probably wondering, what's the point of having city points and industry points if all that matters at the end of the game are victory points? Well, at the end of the game, every city point is going to be worth 2 victory points. And depending on how far you've moved down this track here, your development points will be worth a certain number of points at the end of the game. If you make it all the way to the end here, then yes, every development point will also be worth 2 victory points. The last in-game scoring thing I should mention has to do with these ports. So all around the board here, we have these 4 ports. One thing we're trying to do is to connect those ports back here to our starting area with a connected line of terrain tiles. They don't have to be flipped or have buildings on them. All they need to do is have terrain tiles adjacent to that spot. Or really, there's 2 spots for each one. It could be there or there, there or there, there or there, or there and there. And you can see the scoring up here. So if you connect none of them, you lose 40 points. If you connect just 1, you lose 20, then you lose 10, then you lose 5. And if you're able to connect all 4, that's 10 points. So that's just another consideration that we have in the game. Now, the last thing I need to do is when I pass, I need to move my marker to a different spot here, a different bonus. I think I'll go there. And here's the last unique rule in the solo game. The solo bot's marker moves to the spot that you just vacated. That just means next round we won't be able to go there. We'll have to go to one of those other 3. And there we go. We're now ready for cleanup. So the first thing we do is just remove all of the action tokens. We'd have to return any action discs that we were holding. If we had more than one card, we need to discard down to one card. If we had flipped one of those 3 flippable skill tiles, then we get to flip it back. And certain characters might give you an action that you can do during cleanup, but Alice doesn't. So there we go. We can move the marker here to round 2. And when we do that, we get to flip these 2 over. These are 2 new action spots that become available. Once again, we're going to flip an A and a B and block those spots. Oop, they're blocking the action disc spot, so I can't do that little maneuver. And now we go back to the income phase. So this time we're getting 6 money. So we're going to have a lot of money. And then also 3 resources of our choice. Now let's see here. I'm going to be getting 4 wheat, so I'll have 6 wheat. We're going to get 5 wood and only 2 iron. So actually, I think I'm going to want 3 iron. We might have to buy some resources with the money that we're going to get. Okay, so that was that. Now we can get these things. So we're actually getting 18 money. We have 31 money. That's fantastic. End up with 6 wheat. Only 4 wood. And 5 iron. Yeah, that's rough. All right, we're going to get 5 cards, plus the one that we saved. And there we go. We're ready to take actions again. I'm going to start by playing this. This is going to cost 15, but minus 1 because we have one of those symbols, so 14. We have to spend 3 of any resource that we want. This is a good question. Let's spend one of those. 1 wood. Let's spend 2 iron and 1 wood. And that's going to let us put down a water. I'm going to put it right here, adjacent to this water. And when we cover that up, we just get the bonus, which is 5 money. And then we get to place a building onto a water spot. When you get to place things as like a reward, unless it says otherwise, you can just do it for free. I think we're going to go with one of these. And we're going to place it right there. So we're going to get this bonus again. That's 2 more. 1, 2. So our income has gone up now to 20. We get this bonus, which is a skill tile of our choice. I'm going to go for this one. So this is a flip tile. As an action, we can flip this over, and we'll get 1 of every basic resource plus 1 of our choice. And also here, because of that plus 1, we can now have 2 cards automated here in that column. And speaking of automate, I think I will automate this. So I'm going to spend a diamond, but I'm going to automate it here. So now when we get this industry bonus, we'll get to place a water tile. And boom, we have a city here. Now, normally that wouldn't be a city, but because of Alice's special ability, that is a city. I think my next action will be just to flip this. So get 1 of each, and then let's get 1 more iron, I think. And I want to play another card. I want to play this one. That's going to cost 8. This lets me sacrifice one of my money incomes in order to get 2 wood income and a iron income. And this card I'm not going to tuck. I can't because I already tucked something there. So I'm just going to leave it off to the side. Still get that icon. Now what are we going to do? Yeah, I think I really do want to get some more terrain out. We'll get rid of this one. So that's going to be all my wheat. But let's put a terrain here. That'll let us build 1 road. We'll get this here. So that's going to let me take this bonus, our industry bonus. And this is going to flip. Yep, let's keep getting that wood income up. And here we're going to get a wood and a wheat. And then down here, we're getting a water terrain. That can go right here. And so now we have connected to one of the ports. Again, they don't need to be flipped. So I place 2, I get 1 more. Let's go right here. That's going to give us 1 move on the industry track. Now you can see here, that one's colored in green. So we don't get this reward until we get our train, which you get if you move your stagecoach all the way down to there. Then you can start moving the train, and you'll get those train rewards. So we don't get anything for that. I now want to build. Now the problem is we got to do some addition here, because if I go there, I can build 3. Basically, it would be just for the cost plus 1 wood. Now I don't think I have enough for that. I can spend 4 money to get a resource. I could also go here to get 2 new cards. That's just going to give me an extra action. I'll spend 1 card to get 2. That seems like a no-brainer. Let's get rid of that. No, actually, let's get rid of this. We just get to draw 2 off the top. Ooh, now that's not bad. For $7, we could get 2 more iron and 3 money income. That's kind of a deal, really. Right now I have 5 wood. So I would need at least 4 wood for 2 buildings, 6 wood plus 1. So I need 7 wood to do 3 buildings. But I would need 6, 9 iron, unless it was one of these. Then I'd need even more. Okay, I don't think I can get 3 buildings. So we might as well just do 2. I think I will play this card. It's going to cost 7. But I'm going to get 2 coal and 3. 1, 2, 3 money income. Let's put that over here. And now I am going to take a free action. I'm going to spend 4 money in order to get a wood. And now we'll take this action in order to build 2 buildings. Let me get rid of that. And technically you're supposed to pay for like all of your buildings at once. So like you can't use the resources and money that you make from building 1 in order to build more. So I want to build this one. That's going to be 3 and 3. And then maybe this one. Or possibly this one. Ooh. Actually, this one. So that's going to be 5 wood and 6 iron. This one's going here, and we'll get a wood income. Oops. And this one's going here, and we're getting a wood income. So we now have 10 wood income. That's great. And in light of that, I do think I will Instead of buying a wood, I would have bought an iron. Now we get the bonuses here. So I can build a road and anything of my choice, any terrain of my choice, that is. We're going to go there. Yeah, we'll put the road here. Whoops. Oh my gosh. That will give me another iron income. And then here we can get another terrain. Yeah, I want to go here. So I can move one here. We're going to get another card. And when we pass, we'll get a development point or an industry point. Nice. And I think that's that action done. Man, I would love to play this card. But we're going to have to wait till next round. I think I will save that one for next round. So I'll discard this card. To go there and get 6 money. And now I could just discard a card to get either a diamond, or I could discard a card to get 2 resources. Yeah, you know, I probably could have done that if I discarded a card to get 2 resources. I could have built an extra building, and that would have been an extra city. So that's what I should have done. A little too late to go back on that now. Yeah, I think I'll just discard this to get 2 resources, set myself up for next round to do a big build. Let's get iron, because we're only going to have 5. Yeah. There we go. I think we're done. We're going to pass, and this time we're going to get some much nicer passing bonuses. So first off, we're going to get a victory point for our city. And we're on the board. Amazing. We have 1 city, so we're going to get 1 city point. And we get 1 development point. And of course, by development point, I mean industry point. We now clean up. We get to flip this back over. I'm going to move over right there. That's going to give me an iron income, but also a bonus where all buildings that I build will cost 1 less iron. We're going to move this over here. 2 more actions open up. Then we're going to get our income and go through that whole thing again. Now there's a couple of actions that I haven't mentioned yet. So this action here, that's moving up on the food track. So you just move your marker up. As you hit these spaces, you'll get little bonuses, right? There you can get a star for, you know, building your ice cream cone. You get to here, you get this token. That's just a permanent -1 wood discount to all of your buildings. And then the other thing I didn't mention are these bunnies. Now, in order to play a bunny, it has to be either equal to or to the left of your food marker. So you can't start playing bunnies until you've moved your food marker at least 4 spaces. Then you could play this one. And the bunnies go on spaces with buildings. You can see you can get some bonuses beneath some of them. And there's also a whole track there where you'll get a bunch of points for your bunnies. You can see if you reach the end of that track, you can get up to 7 points per bunny that you put out. So that could definitely be a strategy that you go for to get a lot of points. The last thing that I should mention is this spot here. When you want to build a terrain tile on here, you actually get to select from this little group of tiles. You can see they have sort of special, unique bonuses on them. Look at this one. $5 and 7 money income. So, you know, you could select that, put it face down, build a road next to it and flip it. Then build a building on it just like any of the other tiles, but you get something special. So, right, we need to flip these. Ooh. Blocking 4 spaces. One thing I should note is I was wrong about these extra card slots. Not only do you need a tile there, but you also need a road reaching it. So they work a little different than the ports. The ports, you don't need roads, you just need tiles. Here you need both tile and road. So we're kind of close to this one, right? We could go 1, 2, 3 and get to there. Oh no, we'd actually have to go 1, 2, 3, and then 4. It has to be on one of the edges touching it. So those are hard to get to. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead and just show you the final round and how in-game scoring works. And we are back. It's the 5th and final round. I've gone through income and everything, so we're ready to take actions. And as you can see, a lot has changed. Because of Alice's special abilities, I really focused on creating as many cities as I could. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job. Right now, I think I have 5 cities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because remember, my ice cream cone building counts as a city by itself. And I was able to get to 3 to 4 cities pretty quickly. So as you can see, my city points are quite up there. There they are at 17 or 18. Yeah, 18. So if nothing changes, we're going to get 7 more city points, get to 25 city points. And remember, those are going to get doubled. So that's worth 50 victory points at the end. I would like to get to 6 cities. I'm not quite sure if I have the resources for that, but we're going to try. That's one of my goals. But more important than that, we're going to make sure that we connect up to this final dock. So we have all the docks connected. And I really want to get this marker all the way to the end. If I can do that, that'll give me 1 point for every road that I have, and I have a lot of roads. So first things first, let's go ahead, hit that spot up. We'll discard that and draw 2. This could be helpful because anything that's getting me wood is really what I need right now, more than anything else. I have a lot of money though, so I can buy wood at 4 coins a pop. I think I'm at like 38 bucks there, yeah. So this should be possible. I also have this here, so this I can go ahead and flip right now. It just gives me 1 of every raw good, and then 1 of my choice, which I'll have wood. And then I'll flip that over. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but you can't double up on skills, which is a shame because earlier I got this skill, which was just an automatic move 3 on one of the green tracks. I would love to get that again, but can't. Well, let's just go for it because we need this. I don't see any way to avoid it. So we'll go like that. Let's get rid of this. That's no use to us. 8 wheat. And 8 wood. That leaves us with 9 wood left. Yeah, we need like 15, I think. That's a later problem. We're going to build here, which will give us another skill. Now, this is a tough one. The points generating ones are not really helpful for what I'm doing. I actually think having a nice, easy way of getting a gem is really what I need. And in fact, let's just go ahead and flip it. This is what I need to get across that line to get into that final spot. Second terrain will go here, which will let me get another terrain. So we'll get this one. We can place it right here. And that's going to immediately flip over, which we can use to move 1 space on this track. And then the third one is here, which will connect to the dock. Cool, so the docks are taken care of. Now we get 3 roads. And we're just going to connect these. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll flip these 2 over. And I guess we'll just move down that track just in the off chance that we get a bunny. It does give us a income that we're not going to need. The good part about that now is I have the 3 spaces that I need to build in order to get another city. If I can get the 15 wood that I need, we can go right there. Oh no, I'm going to need 16 wood. Ooh, and I have 9. So to do exactly what I want to do, I'm going to need 7 extra wood. And probably some coal too. Oh no, I'm good on coal. Coal is fine. Now, one thing I was thinking about, if I could move this 2 spaces here, I'd get this token, which would give me a 1 wood reduction. So then I need 3 less wood, just 4. I do have the money, right? If I need 7 wood, times 4, that's 28, if I'm doing my math correct. So I could just buy the wood that I need. But there's got to be a better way. There just has to be. I mean, one way is to spend 22 to play this card. Then for just this diamond, I could build 2 buildings. And I wouldn't have to spend any wood. So that's just like better in every way. Yeah, I mean, that's just literally better in every way. So let's do that. We'll spend 22. Spend a diamond. Place 2 buildings. Well, let's play this one. Right here. So when we play on top of there, we'll get another movement. And then we'll play this last one to here. Get that movement. And this is fantastic because now, you know, I was talking about my city points. They're now going to multiply by 3 instead of 2 at the end of the game. So now we're looking at more like 75 points from that. Also means that I could automate another card here if I wanted to. I don't have the diamond, so I can't automate this one, but there we go. I can't do any of the rest of that, so we'll just put it off to the side. That's fantastic, because now I have all the resources in the world. Oh yeah, and I forgot. I also get this. So that's down here, so I'm getting a wood and a wheat. Ooh, I'm also getting a road. Let's send this road out like this. Maybe we can get some of those. And then this tile can go here, I guess. Doesn't really matter. We'll go there. I need 2 more wheat. Yeah, that's fine. We can just use the money for that. That's $8 to get 2 more wheat. And then we'll spend the 6 wheat. I also have to spend a card. We'll do that one. We'll put one of these here. That will immediately flip. Bam. Oh, wait a minute. I need to do that in a different order. Sorry. Hold on. I just need to do that in slightly different order. That was my mistake. We'll come back to that in just 1 second. I just need to come here, and we're going to build this building. So that's 4 wood. Oops. 4 wood and 3 coal. Have to spend a card. So we're just going to build that one right here. That moves forward. We get to move forward 1 on there. And then we're going to get, boom, 2 gems. Now we do this. Pop 1 there. 1 there. Flips immediately. Spend to get through there. We get a road for reaching the end. I can go right there. We'll pop that open. And we'll move this up 1. And there we go. We have another city. So that's 6 cities. Bam, just like that. I want to have 1 more I can put out. Might as well go here and get a bunny out. I don't think it really matters where we put it. And we also get income that we're not going to need. But that's fine. There we go. We've accomplished like everything that I really wanted to. And I can use all my cards. So I have like 3 more actions I could do. Honestly, just moving on this track seems good. We could go here. Get rid of that. Spend 5 coal to move 3. 1, 2, 3. All we get is this. That's 2 wheat. 3 coins. And this. Ooh, if we could move 1 more space, then we would get another star, which once you have 1, any additional ones, you get a skill tile. I mean, that could be worth 5 points or something. Not a big deal. I mean, we could use our wood in order to just put down 3 more roads. That'd be 3 more points. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, this makes sense. I'm going to get 2 more coal. So we're going to spend 8, 8 money, 2 coal, and then that'll be 3 coal I'll spend to go here. 1 card, move 2 on here. That's going to get me a star. So like I said, you can get a skill shown right here. Oh. Yeah, we're going to get this one. That's going to let me move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Get a card. Now bunnies are worth 5 points to me, so maybe I can get another bunny out. Just need 2 more wheat. So let's see. Every 3 resources. So I could just use my 6 wood to get 2 wheat and get another bunny out for an extra 5 points. But I think it's probably better to use this. The problem is if I go here, that's going to be both of my cards. And then that's my last act, is to get 3 roads. But that would let me push that all the way to the end. Yeah, that's fine. Let's just go ahead and do that. So we won't be able to get any more bunnies, but that's fine. With 3 roads, we can go 1, 2, 3. We can flip both of these over. Oops. 1, 2 into there. Spin the last diamond. We actually get 3 resources and 7 points for being in that spot. Oh yeah, I spent all my wood. So we'll just get wheat, but we don't have any actions to use it. And I think that's it. We're done. So now all we have to do is add up our in-game victory points and see if somehow we manage to get to 250. Well, hold on. We can't forget passing. We can't just move on to scoring. First, I have to take a pass action. and get a bunch of points. So for my 6 cities, we're getting 9 city points. That's going to get me to 27. For the industry track, I'm actually getting 1 and 1, so 2. If I had just moved 1 more space, I would have gotten 2 more. And then for my character here, I get a point, victory point, for every city, so that's 6 more victory points. All right, so we're going into final scoring with 38 points, and we need to get to 250. So the first thing we need to do is go over all of these tracks. For the first one, we're getting 1 point for every tile. I've counted up 32 tiles, and so that's 32 victory points. For the second one, it's 7 points per rabbit, and we just got the 1, so that's 7. The third there, we're getting 1 point for every road. I counted 30 roads, so that's 30 more points. So the fourth row here, we're actually getting 2 points for every building. I counted 17 buildings, so that's going to be 34 points. 5 is simple. It's just 4 points for every automated card. I have 4 automated cards. 4 times 4, 16. And the last one here, we just moved the 1 space, so we're getting 1 point for every 2 of our development points. We're at 7, so that's like 6. That's going to be 3. All together, from these tracks, we got 122 points. That gets us to 160. All the way around and back to here. All right, so now we need to deal with our city points. Normally it would be doubled, but because we got this, it's going to be tripled. We ended at 27 times 3, that's 81. Oh my goodness. That gets us to 241. And there's only one more thing to calculate. Well, there's a few more things to calculate. We would get 1 point for every 5 leftover coins. We only have 3, so that's no points. We'd get a point for every leftover diamond, which we don't have, so that's no points. Oh, actually, as a free action, as a free action, you can convert these resources into money. So once you do that, I actually do have 1 point worth of money. So that's just something you should do at the end of the game. Just, if you had leftover cards, you can convert it into resources and then into money. If you were playing a multiplayer game, you'd have milestone tiles that you'd score, and also, what do they call it? Oh, final scoring tiles. But we don't use those in the solo game. So the very last thing is this right here. How many of these ports did we connect? And we managed to connect all of them, so we're getting 10 points. There we go. Our final score is 252. We won by 2 points. Now, exceeding 250 points means that we are recognized as a promising future king. But if you were to surpass 300 points, your name will go down in history as a benevolent and beloved ruler of Sweetlands. So we barely squeaked out a victory there. And that's going to do it. That was a solo playthrough of Sweetlands. I'd like to thank all the financial supporters of Totally Tabled, including the Totally Radical Hextra, John Kohler, Scott Myers, Kevin Qualls, and Jay Satterwhite, as well as the Totally Bodacious Jeff Fitzsimmons. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can join on YouTube or my Patreon at www.patreon.com/totallytabled. You'll gain access to my new exclusive podcast, Table Talk, as well as unboxing videos and whatever extra stuff I come up with. As always, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.